Hey, it's Tim. Pickup Truck Plus SUV Talk. Last night, GMC revealed their 2022 Hummer EV. It's the SUV, the truck SUV. Yeah, the avalanche-looking truck. And as per usual, EV vehicles, I'm a little late to the party as far as revealing the news, and I'm okay with that because this stuff is a little different and takes me a little bit to figure out what exactly I think about it. It's such a weird, different truck that's coming out. So I thought in this video, I'll give you my thoughts on this EV Hummer truck, kind of from a practical guy standpoint. Yeah, let's talk about practical stuff with EVs. Sometimes kind of hard. But if you missed the news, it's basically exactly what you thought it was going to be. It is the Hummer reborn as an avalanche-looking truck. So it's got the unibody kind of construction with the bolsters on the sides, holding it all together, and it's basically got the same Hummer front end. It's got some really cool lights. It's full of tech, which is basically the way EVs have gone these days. They're going to add more and more features and luxury to them. I'm sure it's a very luxurious cabin, very luxurious materials. It's going to have a couple different versions. The first version, edition 1, was already sold out, or reserved out, I should say. 3 motors, 0 to 60 in 3 seconds, 1,000 horsepower, 11,500 foot-pounds of torque, which is a BS number. It's actually like 1,000 horsepower to each tire, so they really haven't figured out what it's going to be total torque. It can tow 11,000 pounds apparently. Am I reading about it? It comes in a couple different cool things. So like crab mode is pretty cool. It's got 4-wheel drive or 4-wheel steering like the old quadra steer had. So if you get to an obstacle, it can kind of move its wheels and go around the obstacle like a crab would. So that's a cool feature. It's got a raise and lower mode for the front end. So it's got air suspension. So if you come across a boulder and you don't feel like doing crab mode to get around it, you can press a button and go up 6 inches and go over it, or a rock, not a boulder. It's got watts to freedom mode, which I was a little confused what this was. Watts to freedom is basically their launch control. So, according to Car and Driver, this thing is like a bulldog, right? So when it wants to go fast, like a dog does, it lowers itself a couple inches, it gets all this energy built up in back legs, and it takes off. And that's where it goes to 0 to 60 in 3 seconds. Oh, and by the way, the Bose sound system inside the truck, it's supposed to play some sounds that get you excited as a driver, and the seat vibrates, and so it's got that same kind of like, hey, we're really a gasoline engine truck, so we're going to get you excited with the sound and the feelings, the visceral experience of launch control. So that's basically what it is. And well, it's really expensive. $112,000 for the first edition. Now it does start at $79,000 for the base model without any of the features. Especially like Super Cruise, so you can have hands-off driving in a way as long as you're sitting there semi-autonomous on roads that are approved that you can use it with, which basically means freshly painted lines, nothing on the roadways, that kind of stuff. It comes $79,000 for the base level. Now that gets 250 miles of range, and that's going to be out like maybe 2024. It's kind of like in the asterisk right now. That's kind of their guess. This truck will be out in 2022 or 2021. It's kind of weird, different information I'm getting. And it's going to be $112,000 for that with the 3 motors, 350 miles of range, what they're expecting. Now this will fit 35s all the way to 37-inch tires. It comes with 35s, comes with 37-inch tires. So it's basically a pretty beastly off-road truck. And it's, in my view, they named it correctly. It's a super truck, but they forgot a word. It's a super car truck. That's what it is. It's a super car truck. It's a rich boy's plaything. And it's going to be used, or go in the grocery store a lot, off-road. It's going to be used a lot off-road, and that's what this truck is going to be built for. It's going to be built for off-road. You take the T-tops off, you open up the panels, and you look at the stars while you're off-road Moab somewhere. Now, I, overall, after reading people's comments and getting people ask me questions like that, I got to say, overall, I'm disappointed. And I'm not disappointed in the Hummer itself. I think GM did a great job on the truck. They really nailed it. The specs are impressive. For an EV truck, it's really impressive truck. I'm not disappointed in that. I'm disappointed that, yet again, I feel like I'm left out. Yet again, I don't have a truck that I want to own. You know, I was looking at some of the reviews on this truck immediately online. Engineering Explained was there. Jerry Rigg guy was there. This guy on his channel has tons of technology reviews, cell phones and things. That's his big thing. He was there doing the Hummer truck in person. Engineering Explained, Jason is a big EV guy, owns a Tesla. He's there as well. So it makes sense. Technology guys with quite a bit of coin, in their pockets. This is a great thing for them, a supercar truck thing for them. But for guys like me who want an EV, we're kind of just left out again. I on an average day, an EV would fit my needs because I don't really drive that much. I'd like it as a secondary vehicle because for long distance, I don't want to drive for 250 miles and have to stop and pull over and charge for a couple hours to get all the way up. You know, they tell me they can charge this truck for 10 minutes, get 100 miles of range. Well, here in the West, I mean, that's what, a couple hours of driving, maybe, you know, in the wind and stuff with the conditions. So I got to drive maybe an hour or two, charge for 10 minutes, then drive for an hour or two. I don't know. Not really a fan of that. I like hitting cruise and going for 4 or 5 hours. So I don't know. And that just makes me disappointed because I think an entry-level EV, I'd be all about it. Driving back and forth around town, driving where I go, it makes total sense to me. Now, when they build these EVs though, and they feature them out and they talk about things for the customer, it doesn't make sense to me. So here's a good example. This is my new EV truck. Yeah, it's heavy too. And you got to know that this Hummer is going to be really heavy as well. That's what it's going to be. So this is my EV truck. I charge it for, I don't know, an hour. I get to play with it about 10 minutes because of its power. I think it's about 10 minutes. And so, I mean, it's cool. But here's my concerns with it is, let's say I want to go 0 to 60 in 3 seconds. And, you know, so cool, I do. And I go 0 to 60. Man, look at that. Did you hear that? Yeah, that is the remote control in the back of this going sliding back and forth. So I'm going to damage my truck if I do that. I'll damage my truck. I'll damage the bed. I'll damage the cargo I have in there. You know, going 0 to 60 in 3 seconds is cool for a track, but where do you really use that? Every time I go to California in 405 and I see those supercars, they're all sitting in traffic. You know, tell you what, a Ferrari going 10 miles an hour, isn't that cool? So that's what really concerns me about that. Second thing that concerns me is how much weight it is. I mean, this is such a heavy truck, and now you're going to add more and more batteries to get more range because you made this truck heavy because you added all this content to it. To me, for an EV, you want to make it light as possible and take out as much luxury as you can. Give the cloth seats, get the price down, and make it actually usable for range. So that concerns me too. I also get concerned about the wintertime. I guarantee this truck doesn't do as well in the wintertime as it does during summer with batteries as they degrade over the winter. It's like using your power tools outside. The battery-operated power tools, well, the battery changes as it gets cold. That's just a physics, right? And that's how things work. So I know they're working on that technology, but I don't know. I don't really get that either. And towing, like I bet you if I fill this up with rocks and I tow it around, I'm probably going to get, estimates have been 40 to 60% less range out of this than I would if it was a gasoline-powered truck. And that's just because EVs with a battery, it's like putting a rock on them. They don't go as far. And so here's my EV truck, and while it's cool to play with, I'd never buy this because to me it's like impractical. The last thing I want to do is worry about finding charging stations. That's the one thing you look at when you do a bunch of watching on YouTube and stuff, reviews. The guys that tow with the EVs are always conscious about trying to find charging stations. Not that they need them at that moment, but they're so few and far in between, you got to plan out your trip for the charging stations, I suppose. So, again, crab mode is cool. I think of a few situations that could use that. Off-roading a trail, spot gives you the wrong place. You get stuck. Nice to move around. I like to try it out and see how that works. Watts to Freedom is cool, 0 to 60, but you can see what's going to happen to stuff in my back of my truck. So, yeah, I don't know the real benefits of that. And it's a launch control mode, so you can't use it for like getting an interstate. That's not possible. You can't just hit launch control mode, lower down as you get an on-ramp, then go. That doesn't make any sense. The raise and lower is cool, but just air suspension already exists. A lot of vehicles already do that, so I'm not so blown away by that. And the price, I mean, come on, you're looking at $112,000, so that's not a truck. That's a Corvette. That's a supercar. That's the supercar money. So again, I gotta say, I just think I'm just disappointed. I want an EV. That's the thing people always get mad at me on this channel. Like, well, you're an EV hater. You're an EV this. I'm not an EV hater. I think, electric is the future. Whether we like it or not, it's the future. Now, whether it's hydrogen electric, whether that's battery electric, I don't know. But electric is the future. I just overall am disappointed. I'm disappointed I'm not a target audience for any of this stuff. And I just feel like I'm getting left out, and I don't understand it. Like, where are they going to think all these truck buyers are going to come from? They're going to have to convert supercar buyers into truck buyers, or people who just want a fun toy. And it's going to be a fun toy. It's going to be fast and going off-road. It's going to be great. Take this Moab, you're going to have a great time. But for me, I just was wanting more. So, hey, put your thoughts down below. Let me know what you guys are thinking. I'll check this video out over here, website down below. As always, thanks for watching. I'll see you down the road.